What's a good way to frame this up? I guess let's talk about cannabis.
It's like, I don't think you need like a strong...
Because I was trying to think about a way to frame it up, and I can't, because you've been pretty vocal recently, right? With respect to the role that it plays in your life, how much you enjoy it. Quite frankly, we enjoy cannabis as well. But like, given your role as several things, right? Like, gosh, you're All-American national champion track and field for your age group. You are a wellness coach. You're someone that has also been pretty vocal about your own challenges with mental health and like trying to help other people as well. So like, what role does cannabis play in all of that? And how did you deal with, or come to the conclusion or comfort level rather, of sharing that despite the stigmas that still exist?
Yeah, the thing with getting into cannabis, that was really a surprise. That was something that I picked up as a way to kind of cope with some of the mental health challenges that I was having that I don't even think I realized that I was having at the time. So I was going through a period of high anxiety. So this would have been probably April, May 2021. So it was a period where I was having real high anxiety, even though I had just started this role that I thought was the not dream role, but the most purpose-driven role that I've ever had in my day job career. But I was still having these anxiety challenges. And so for me, like, growing cannabis became my thing. Like, yes, there's having access to the recreational and getting the medicinal card. But for me, it was growing that actually became therapeutic. Like, not so much using it, but the process of having something to take care of. It became part of my routine in the sense that I would start my morning by going out into the garage, because that's where it was, going out into the garage and spending time with the plants, whether I'm watering them or seeing how much they've grown. And it's crazy for me to have been going through this journey and to, at some points while growing these plants, see them kind of mirror where I was like in my own healing process and like where I was in my own journey. And then also, I am not going to compare it to parenthood, but also even making mistakes, because there are times I almost killed these things. You know, like, there are times that I almost killed these plants and got all upset with myself and beat myself up over it, thought I did everything right. And so for me, it started with it being meditative as part of my wellness, but then it became like more of a, this was illegal, like this natural thing that grows from the earth. Like, I could tell everybody what's in this. I could tell like, I know exactly what's in this. Whereas like pills, medication, some of the other things we take, we have no idea what's in that. And for me, that's part of what's gotten me to become a much stronger believer too, is like this realization of like this one, it's helped me as someone who deals with complex PTSD and also someone who has ADHD. And also as someone who has dealt with sleep issues for years related to the PTSD. And a lot of those sleep issues I had over the years, I didn't even know that was because of the PTSD until September of 2021. So that's how it's kind of become a thing for me.
Did you experience like any backlash in sharing that? Because I know, like, you alluded to it, but like, unfortunately, like, it is still very much demonized. I won't even say stigmatized, but like demonized, and people are kind of still, I think, reacting to kind of propaganda.
This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
I just love the fact that like you're a literal All-American at your age group, right? So like you're debunking that myth, right? This idea that if you use cannabis, that you're just like someone who just a stoner that sits on the couch, that isn't active at all. That is quite honestly the opposite of wellness, right?
So Sarah, what's going on here? Sarah?
She won't answer you. Or she can't.
Why not?
This is the way it's been since she started smoking pot.
From that standpoint, you're doing it, but you're also someone that is thriving in your career and thriving, quite honestly, as an entrepreneur. You're doing both, right? But did you experience any backlash, like personally or professionally, once you decided to share that information? Or were people kind of like generally like relieved and felt comfortable saying, oh my gosh, me too?
the most interesting backlash for me were the people who said, "Oh, I thought you quit alcohol. And now you're talking about cannabis." I'm like, yeah, I did quit alcohol. Like, I am sober. Well, you're not fully sober. You're like special California sober. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm like, and that's what I have to say to people. Do you know the difference between being in and outside of your body?
Right.
And so when I use cannabis, I am in my body, even though there may be a high and you could be going to the moon. Like, I'm still in my body.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, like, it's helping me accomplish something, whether it's getting started on writing on the weekend, getting tasks done. Like, that's the role that it's played in my life. And I've had to explain to people that even for me, like, the role that alcohol played, like that, I don't want to be defined by quitting alcohol. Like, oh, he's the guy who quit alcohol and became a national champion. No. He's the guy who broke multiple cycles. He broke a generational cycle. He broke detrimental health cycles. Like, that's what I want to be defined by. And so I explain that to people, like, you can hold two things at once. Like, you can hold two, and it's something that I find people struggle with generally, is holding like two ideas and thoughts at once. And it's like, yes, I can see the impact that alcohol had on me, know that that's not for me, and know the role that it's played in my family and me getting to a point where alcohol was even an issue in the first place. I also know that, like, with cannabis, how responsible I am with it, how much research that I've done on it. And as y'all know, when I get focused on something, like, I go all the way in, and that's like maybe part of the ADHD, but like the research, the learning the strains and this and that, the therapeutic benefits, basically being a bud tender without being a bud tender for people. Like, I feel like with that, I'm still helping people, because there are people who need relief. And I've had people who've said, bro, I'm so glad, like, you talked me down off the like cannabis roof, because like I've actually finally been able to get sleep. Or like, yo, my grandmother, like I gave her a gummy and like she was dealing with pain and now she's not feeling that pain anymore. So how can I not tell people about that versus like alcohol? Like, that's like, that destroyed my life. Maybe it won't destroy yours, but that was the cycle that I needed to break along my journey. You know, so I got that more than whether anything around marijuana being good or bad per se. It's the, how can you say that you're sober, but then you're also talking about cannabis?
Yeah. That's such an odd thing that humans do, where we pick the purest definition of a word and we're set on that. And it's like, well, if it's not that, then it can't be anything in that family. And just learning how to embrace spectrums and nuance, and deciding that one thing may not be for you, but another thing is like, it's a part of developing and becoming a mature critical thinker. So good on you for not listening to them. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Cashing Out the Podcast. To see more videos like this, subscribe to our YouTube channel and be sure to turn on your notifications. To get your copy of Cashing Out the Book, visit Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, your local bookstore, or download the audiobook on Audible.